What a great weekend of fights. Miesha Tate, Holly Holm, Diaz McGregor. So, man, I got a lot out of watching these fights. But first of all, this isn't like a Conor hate video. I know some people love him, some people hate him. They hate his trash talk, but, you know, the guy went from being a welfare recipient to making millions of dollars in just a short time. However, I just want to talk about what I got out of watching the fight. The first thing is that fighting or fighting to the death truly is in your DNA. I know the book on Conor is that he breaks easy, and when you put pressure on him, he'll fold. I have heard several fighters say that once you tap or are put in a position to tap, and you do tap, that you know what your DNA is made out of. I always think of the John Jones versus Vitor Belfort fight. I even touched on that in a different video, but Vitor in that fight was juiced up, testosterone levels off the charts, and he caught John Jones in an extremely deep armbar. And if you watch that fight, you see that John never even looks like he's going to give up. He actually looks like he's just getting more pissed, and the second that he gets out of it, he's going to just, you know, go crazy on Vitor. And I heard John say that even to this day, his arm's still kind of messed up because of that armbar that he was put in. But fact of the matter is, he wasn't going to tap. You could break his arm, and it was just in his DNA, man. And then when you look at Holly Holm, in the second round of the fight with Miesha Tate, she spent pretty much the whole, second half of the round fighting off the choke. She passed out before she tapped out. She's definitely someone who has that fight to the death in her DNA. Conor, on the other hand, I mean, he didn't even try and get out of the choke. Once Nate passed guard, he punched him a couple times. Conor turned on his stomach and pretty much just gave his neck and tapped right away. Didn't even try to get out, didn't grab his arms, try and get loose. Just gave up. I mean, he was rocked. Like he said, he panicked, turned into a wrestler. But that's what people have been saying since the beginning, and I mean, it's true, I guess. I mean, they said on his first two submissions, same thing, that the leg lock wasn't even deep, and he just tapped right away, didn't even try to get out of it. Same thing with this chokehold. Took a couple punches, turned to his stomach, and trying to look for a way out of the fight. So the interesting thing to me is that Conor talks about people like Cowboy and RDA looking for a way out, giving up. So I was thinking that when he says stuff like that, it's actually fears that he has within himself. Again, like we saw early in his fighting career, how quickly he tapped. I think it was way back in 2010. But when you put pressure on him and he folds. And I have also heard that, his team has a sports psychologist or psychiatrist, not sure which, but that kind of hypnotize him and to kind of give you that warrior spirit, or I guess hypnotize you into, when you're put in that position, not giving up. But it seems like it's just in your DNA. I mean, that was 6 years ago or whatever, he did the same thing. But, just an interesting thing I was thinking about. And next is, man, after watching this fight, Conor definitely is not the boxer that he's promoted to be. I mean, he has a powerful left, but I mean, we've heard him call out Floyd Mayweather on several occasions, and I'm not a big Floyd Mayweather fan, but the way McGregor was loading up on his punches and just missing, I don't think he would even touch Floyd once. I don't think he would touch Floyd once in a 12-round fight. Nate's style is kind of to entice people to come in, leaves his chin out, his hands down, kind of wants you to try and punch him and then he'll counter. And he does take a lot of punishment. I mean, look at all the scar tissue he has on his face. He's taken a lot of punishment over the years. And we all know Mayweather's style. I mean, he's just 100% defensive. He's not going to engage, do anything. I don't think Conor would even touch him. And if Conor really had these great boxing skills, I think he would have been a professional boxer. We all know the UFC pays like shit in comparison to boxing. And with Conor's mouthpiece, I mean, he could have historic, record-breaking events against Pacquiao or Mayweather. I mean, these fights would be huge, but I just don't think he has the boxing skills to compete with either of them. Next is Conor's speed. Everyone was talking about how fast he was. You heard some People saying like at 170 no one would even touch him. To me it's, you know, subpar average. I mean, he was built up to have great speed, timing, and range control. But Diaz, who only had a couple weeks to prepare, I mean, I guess he said he was out drinking brews on a beach resort in Mexico, you know, 2 weeks before the fight, and he was able to just pick Conor apart. The first round he said he was just getting his timing down. That's why he was taking punishment. He was real rusty. Didn't train any rounds. Didn't spar any rounds in preparation for the fight. We saw he rocked him and he made him pay. I saw Conor swinging an air a lot. I didn't see him controlling the range, having good timing. I mean, Nate was able to just pop him and he was gone. Now, the thing that really pisses me off is that people keep saying this fight was at welterweight. Diaz has fought at welterweight, but I mean, he's a lightweight. He even said at 155 he would have been so much sharper. To me, they're the same size. Conor somehow has the ability to make 145. I think that's why he's so strong. But these guys are both lightweights. Conor's 27 years old, I think. I don't know how much longer he can make 145. Last fight, his coach said no more. I mean, it's a tough cut. I mean, that's his advantage, though. He's so much bigger than the guys he fights. As far as the weight goes, I mean, if one thing goes wrong during his training camp or at the weight cut, I mean, he's screwed. I don't know how much longer he can actually make weight. So as far as at 145, I mean, it's obviously he needs to go down there, fight Frankie Edgar, give a rematch to Jose Aldo. And then, man, for his own health, I'm not an expert, but I would say just leave the featherweight division and move up to lightweight. I personally think Conor and Nate walk around at the same weight. I mean, Conor weighed in at 168 and he was in great shape. That was after a full camp. Yes, he was eating. He wasn't trying to cut weight. Nate, like he said, he came off a beach resort in Mexico, jumped on the scale. He came in a little heavier at 169. I think these guys just walk around at the same weight. It wasn't at welterweight. These guys could have cut down to 155. I mean, obviously, if it was old school where you weigh in at 2 p.m., fight it that evening at 6, 7 p.m., these guys would be the exact same, man. Obviously, Nate's taller, but his frame's skinnier. He's more lanky. Conor's a little stockier. So, I don't know. To me, that wasn't a welterweight fight. Next is this whole granite chin, concrete jaw thing. Dude, Nate is not a knockout artist. If you look, he wears people out. He hardly has any KOs on his record. When you watch his fights, he has so much volume. He wears guys down. They try and take him down. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he taps him out. He submits him, and he had Conor rocked. I mean, that's why Conor panicked. He was rocked, and he turned into a wrestler. So this chin that he's always living off, this huge granite concrete jaw, definitely does not carry up to lightweight. And again, I'm saying lightweight because Diaz is a lightweight fighter. I think if Robbie Lawler were to crack him, man, I don't think he wants to go to 170. Conor has a huge size, strength, power advantage at featherweight, but I don't think that carries up, man. At lightweight, his power and his chin, it's just not going to carry up. Diaz looked bad in the fight. I mean, his face looked bad, but he has so much scar tissue. He just cuts easy. I didn't. Some people said Diaz was rocked. I didn't see him rocked. He did take some good shots, but I didn't see him rocked. Conor, he's always going to have problems with these jiu-jitsu and wrestling. The thing I think is with Conor, if he doesn't knock someone out in the first round, it's all downhill. And Nate called it. Nate said, I hope he does knock me out, because if he doesn't knock me out in the first, what then? And it's true, it didn't look like Conor had any backup plan. He was just loading up on that left, hoping that he could knock him out. When it wasn't working, he was just lost. He got rocked, turned into a wrestler, and looked for a way out of the fight. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. I'm a fan of both these guys. I think Conor, he took damage, but hopefully not too much. Hopefully him and Jose Aldo can come back. I guess they're saying UFC 200. I'd love to see him fight Frankie. I mean, those are two fights I think he has to do at featherweight. Hopefully he can make weight, then move up to lightweight, and there's a ton of fights waiting for him there. I just don't think he's going to be this knockout artist that he's been in featherweight. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going into these fights after he rehydrates it, like in the 160s, 168, whatever he is. And he's fighting these little guys at featherweight. But if he can make weight, it's all fair. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. I watched this fight several times. Enjoyed it every time I watched it. It was a great fight. Can't wait for what's next. You guys have a great week. Take care.